to some of the most prominent figures in U.S. history, including past presidents and the founding fathers. It comes amid growing calls to bring down controversial statues, but critics say historic figures like George Washington and Christopher Columbus are being unfairly targeted in the cancel culture movement. Florida Congressman Greg Steube joins me now. He sits on the House Judiciary Committee. Are you one of those, Congressman, who thinks we've gone overboard in tearing down or demanding that we tear down various statues around this country?
Yeah, I certainly don't think that the mob should rule and just break the law and pick out what monument they want to destroy on what day and go and take it down. And we as a government are going to stand by and watch them do that. There are crimes as we sit here today that protect federal monuments. I commend the president for taking the position that he's had. Years ago, we had similar circumstances in Florida, and I tried to pass a bill that would make it even a heightened higher criminality for attacking monuments and different statues we have here in the state of Florida. So I think the president is right on this. I think most Americans believe that history should be protected. Local governments and state leaders, if they want to move certain monuments to different places, they have the full right to do that through their own elected process, through their elected leaders. But allowing mobs to just come and destroy our national monuments is certainly not what America is all about.
The president is taking some heat, especially from the other side of the aisle. I want you to hear what Senator Tammy Duckworth said today about his speech at Mount Rushmore. Listen.
What really struck me about the speech that the president gave at Mount Rushmore was that he spent more time worried about honoring dead Confederates than he did talking about the lives of the 130,000 Americans who lost their lives to COVID-19. I mean, his priorities are all wrong here.
There are a great number of Americans who are offended that, say, a Confederate general or a Confederate leader has a statue in a prominent public square, Congressman.
Well, liberal Democrats are going to criticize the president on everything that he does. I mean, just look at the last several years with a Democratic House, and every single thing that he's tried to accomplish, they've tried to thwart it. So it doesn't surprise me at all that Democratic senators are criticizing just about everything he did. I mean, they had a huge display of our military might for the 4th of July yesterday in Washington over the White House, and they criticized that. They'll criticize anything he does. And I just think it's disrespectful to the office of the president and the type of things he's trying to do to put America first.
Senator Joni Ernst of Iowa, your fellow Republican, says that what the country ought to be doing is working on ways to move the conversation and the country in a positive direction. Listen.
We want to focus on the meaningful things that will move our country forward. But I don't believe in the destruction, again, of property. If we're talking about statues that belong to other jurisdictions, those decisions should be made at that local level, not by those that are out there vandalizing that property.
And why is it, Congressman, that in so many jurisdictions the vandalism seems to be tolerated? I mean, police in many jurisdictions are just kind of stepping back and letting this stuff happen, letting the statues be torn down. Why?
Well, if you look, a lot of these are in Democratic cities, large cities run by Democratic mayors and Democratic city councils. Just look what was going on with all of the COVID-19 and requiring people to wear masks, arresting people who were worshiping in a synagogue, arresting people for surfing. But then tens of thousands of people can walk down Washington, D.C. without wearing masks, all on top of each other, and those mayors aren't going to do anything about it. It's selective enforcement of what their political agenda is to try to push what their political agenda is. And it's not that we have laws protecting these monuments, and they absolutely should be enforcing those laws, regardless of where they're located.
But don't they run the risk of losing popular support if their cities descend into this kind of chaos?
I don't actually believe that this is these type of things are popular. They're certainly not popular in my district. We have people here that protect our monuments, that protect our military, that served our country, that protect our heroes. And I don't think you're going to see that type of thing in my district. And I think it's in a minority of people. I've seen polling across the nation in some of our more moderate districts that are Republican and Democrat that don't believe that Americans should be taking the law in their own hands, going up to a monument that they don't believe in or agree with, and desecrating it or tearing it down.
One of the problems that Florida is facing right now is a resurgent coronavirus. Your state, along with Texas, set new daily records yesterday. 11,458 new cases registered in Florida, 8,238 in Texas. I know you're not part of the state government per se, but how are you going to get a handle on this in Florida?
Well, you got to look at the numbers, and we're testing over 200,000 people a week in Florida. That's a staggeringly high number. So, of course, your number of positives are going to be higher. And I've talked to CEOs in my district, CEOs of my hospitals in my district that tell me that some of their testing hasn't been accurate and they've had to change labs. But those numbers were still reported that if people come in for a car accident and they're going to test them for COVID-19, they test positive, they're going down as a COVID-19 patient, not as a car accident patient. I drove by one of our local testing sites today, and there were hundreds of vehicles winding around waiting to get tested. A lot of these people testing positive in Florida are younger. They're asymptomatic. They don't even know they have it, but their employers are asking them to go and get tested. If you look at ICU capacity, if you look at those hospitalizations, those numbers have stayed flat. Even in my district, I represent 9 counties here in Southwest Florida, and those numbers of hospitalizations in those 9 counties has been pretty steady as it's been over the past month. So I think if you look at it truly from a healthcare perspective of the serious nature of the cases that we have, yes, more people are testing positive, but your more serious cases are staying about the same because it's a younger population of people that are testing positive.
Good explanation. Florida Congressman Greg Steube, thank you.